G'day guys, welcome back. If this is your first time stopping by, I'm Andrew and this is Ivy. We're in the shop again today. Thanks for stopping by. And this weekend really is more about head scratching and figuring out the next few steps that we got to take here. I may have mentioned in a previous video this Boxer Quad SU intake here, just so I don't end up taking up a hobby like golf, which will take me forever to figure out. I just like tuning these carburetors. What I really want to do is put some fuel injectors in the bottom of these and set it up with EFI and just merely use the SUs as a throttle body. If anyone has an experience out there and can help shed some light and work with me on that, that'd be awesome. But that's not what we're doing today. I say this weekend has been just pretty much head scratching. Stuff like this, trying to figure that out. Cleaning up my shelves and bins. Sorting out my bins between the 80-inch project, this project. Well, this is kind of like a Range Rover / 88-inch project, as well as parts for the disco up at the lake, and also that's it. It's sorting out the bins between each project, so easier to find stuff when I need it, because we're getting into that, coming up to that stage, well, next year I guess. So we've got all this stuff back in, and some of the head scratching stuff we got to do is at some point I do have to figure out the brake boost mount pedal box assembly here. In a Series 1, this is a Series 2 assembly. It is too high to put the hood on, so I have to figure that out. My plan is to shorten the height of this by taking out like 1.5 inches or whatever's needed on the bottom here. In turn, that will lower the pedal. It shouldn't really change any of the geometry of all the happenings with it. It's just merely lowering the pedal down, which could use to be lowered a little closer to the floor to be more comfortable anyway. It is quite a distance off the floor, so that's not a big deal for lowering the pedal down. That and it's same right with the clutch pedal to have it match. I don't think I would lower this bracket, but I may add an extension onto the pedal to lower that down. Once again, not really changing too much of the geometry of that, just putting the pedals a little lower to be more comfortable to drive as well, which would solve the problem of the height and getting all this underneath the hood. The other thing is a braking system mounted on the front of this. Do we do a vacuum booster brake assist unit on the front of this? Like a smaller, I think it's Model Defender has a kind of smaller one, which would work just great. I got a friend who's done the same thing on his, except his is a Series 2, so it all fits under the hood. Or do we go like a hydraulic booster, brake booster, out of like an Astro van, which is powered off the power steering pump? There's that option there as well as also now with all the new electric cars, there are also electric boosters available on eBay and spare parts and etc., which could also work. So, coming up in the future, part of my head scratching today is looking and thinking, throwing it out there. If anyone out there has any experience with any of this, can throw some knowledge back this way as well. So yeah, vacuum, hydraulic off the power steering booster, or an electric booster to boost the four-wheel discs off the Range Rover, which we're running factory Range Rover brakes. Disc brakes. Other head scratching stuff up here. I really want to order Ali Sports Series 2 V8 radiator for up front here. I'm on a waiting list for about 6 months for them to build them. They just look quite good, like a series radiator, rather than putting some generic looking other radiator in, because I really want to maintain that Land Rover look. So that, we just need to wait for that and then finish assembling the grill on the front, or the breakfast as it's sometimes known. If you know why it's called a breakfast, comment below as well. Um, and then the other thing, I recently got a message on my Facebook page about the fenders that we're doing on here. So let me throw on a Series 1 fender, and then I'll explain that as to what we're doing with the fenders. Because this weekend, I say scratching head weekend, I'm figuring out stuff moving forwards. Also, later in this video, we'll get to the box on the rear of this and the conundrum I have there. I'm just waiting for some extra feedback locally. I think I have it figured out, but it just doesn't make sense. I'll share that shortly here. But let's throw the fender on, set up another camera angle, and explain what I'm doing with the fenders. Okay, so as you can see, you've got the Series 1 fender on here. It does end extremely short on the tire. The center of the wheel is roughly about here on the fender in the arch. So the Series 1 fender is way too short. Plus, I mean, I could make it work, but I'm also putting eyebrows on purely because the wheels hang so far outside of the fender. We've got to keep them covered. As well as I want to keep that step in the front for the grille. To make it look authentic as well with that. So we've got the radiator and everything else in there. So I think the option there is I'm going to a company that can make some custom aluminum fenders. They already do some aftermarket defendery stuff. Quilla Industries, which isn't, well, a few hours from here. But so my plan is we're going to keep the Series 1 look, the height of a Series 1 fender obviously. But based more on a Defender inner fender, which is longer and has the larger wheel arch here to put the eyebrows in, and is more centered over the front wheel. So they would just be a little shorter to match the Series 1 height, and the tops here will be more like a Defender flat top. And we're going to use Defender inner wheel arches. So inside it'll look kind of a little more modern, a little more room for the engine and its auxiliaries there. The very front, I'll have them do the very front as blank with no headlights in it, and hopefully the little recesses for the lights. So for all intents and purposes, it will look like a Series 1 fender, just longer with the eyebrow arches on the outside and Defender inners, and then I can keep that step back on in the front there a little bit, and it will look a little more normal. So that's what we're doing with fenders. Alright, so I have the top mounted on the back here. Now I'm not sure if it's a problem or, and I think I know how I'm going to solve it. So the tub is sitting on. Now it doesn't line up with the mounting bracket holes down here at the front of the tub, nor does it line up with the mounting holes, the 4 tabs across the back of the tub. The tub appears to be extra high in the front and 1/4 inch high, 3/8 of an inch high in the back. But what it is resting on is this chassis came with, came set up for a full roll cage for a rallycross build, I guess, 20 odd years ago. So the floor in the tub is sitting flat on those roll bar mount, flat plate mounts, because you sandwich the tub between your roll bar and that and bolt it all together. So it's sitting flat on that, and then when I measure the fenders up, put a line on the bulkhead there where the fender comes to, which also matches the height of the door, and then I jerry-rigged this piece of wood flat with the box on the back here. And also, so the door gaps here basically line up, and the front of the door lines up with the fender height at the front. So everything lines up correctly, because our given point is the bolt at the bottom of the bulkhead, which was built using the jig with the original mounting bolt points for the windscreen and the bottom. So everything there should be the same as the original. So I'm left scratching my head as to why the mounting bolts don't line up. Now that being said, this chassis was built for a 2A. Now the differences of the box mounting locations between a 2A and a Series 1, I haven't measured. I don't think this is going to be a huge issue, but all I need to do is add some extra mounting brackets at the front to come out and down a little lower to bolt up to the chassis mounting locations. Not a big deal there. And the back ones, I will just have to drill new holes, and hopefully that will be enough in the back there, as you can see by the pictures attached in the video here. But other than that, everything pretty much lines up fairly well. The bulkhead could go forwards a hair to get the doors lined up a touch better, but just from the basic gist of it here, everything lines up basically where it should do. Now let me crawl underneath with the camera and I'll show you what I mean about how it's mounting underneath and where the discrepancies are here. Okay, looking at the front here, you can see this is the bottom of the tub on the back, and these are the mount holes on both of these tabs at the front. So making brackets to drop down and bolt into is not a big deal. Just figuring out why we're not sitting flat, even though mocked up everything looks where it should be. Let me climb under the back and show you at the back there. And here at the back here, you can see where the original tabs used to line up. We are, well, that's even 5/8, 3/4 inch out. A little more than I thought before, because the front was a little higher before I tucked it in. So we have that space there. Now, I agree with you all. Well, the tub needs to sit lower. But then if it sits lower, it doesn't line up with the bulkhead and the fenders and everything else. So let's go underneath and I will show you what is holding it up from sitting down all the way. Sorry for the crappy light here, but as you can see on the back of the chassis here, it has these extra brackets with these plates. Now there's 4 of them, 2 at the back, 1 on this side, 1 on the other. And then at the front, can we focus properly? Focus, focus. There's the one at the front. Now we still could come down just a, well, maybe not. There's a bow upwards in the box. So anyway, so it's resting on the front there. I will put a new floor in this box, I think. And it's also holding up there as well. So everything's sitting up, as I say, about that 5/8, 3/4 inch from where it should be. But yet all the body lines line up with the bulkhead. As I say, the bulkhead is correct to the original. So I think I'm just going to have to make extra long brackets and then pad these gaps with a little more padding. So well, this is just Dan and Fine, Dan and Finey, Jim Dandy and Fine. I just need to verify that everything's kind of sitting where it needs to be, and then make adapters to make it sit properly. So if you're able to shed any light on that for me, I think it's merely just because Series 1 boxes may have mounted a little differently than Series 2. In fact, it wouldn't be great to grab a Series 2 box from somewhere and set it on here and see how it sits down and mounts as well, and that would explain my question, I guess. So making it adapt is just fine. I just need to verify with a friend locally whether this box is fine at this height and everything else lines up and everything's good to go moving forwards. Just make the adapters and it's all good. Transfer case boxes will not be back by Christmas. They're getting worked on over the Christmas break. So we will not have, unfortunately, the transfer case in by Christmas. Maybe the new year though. But as soon as we get them back, we'll get that transfer case done and in. And the rest of the day here, thanks for coming along. I think that's it. The rest of the day here, I'm going to grab some storage boxes, as I said, and I'm going to go through all my racking of parts and separate them out between disco, which there shouldn't be really any disco parts over there. Disco, this project parts, and both Range Rover parts and 88 parts and 80-inch parts. And yes, I do have an 80-inch as well. Let me take you out and show you that. Alright guys, and out behind my shop here, I have a little 80-inch. Now I've had this for probably 20 years. I made an early rush on getting stuff done on it. It has a 2-liter engine in it. And currently it's stuck undercover here, out of the weather. A little bit of a catch-all for all my series parts. And this definitely is on the list of things to do. But I kind of don't mind waiting off on this a little bit, so I've got a little more time to spend on this one. I'm not going to totally restore it. I plan on keeping all the patina and the look and everything to it, but making it mechanically functionable. There's the 88-inch fuel tank. There's the doors off Ivy. And some other stuff. Got another hood or two at the back there. And the seat boxes, more door tops and stuff. So there we go. There's the 80-inch. It will get worked on in the future here for sure. So there we go. Finally showed you my 80-inch. I think I've said in a few videos before that I will share that with you one day. It's patiently waiting. We'll get to her. Thanks very much for coming along. Appreciate it if you know what to do to make the video gods happy there. I appreciate it if I've sparked your interest. Click and subscribe to follow along. And we'll see you on a few more videos here over the Christmas break as we tinker away at stuff. There may be some little shorter ones as we go, as I figure out, there's so much to do. So as I figure out kind of what to do next, so this weekend's mostly just a head scratcher to gain some focus, figure those questions out. Thanks guys. See you next time.